What's up, everybody? This is our on-the-go Maah Daah 100 recap that Jesse raced.
Chase is racing Leadville on Saturday. We have been on the road now for
5 days.
5 days, yeah.
And I'm actually about to drop Jesse off at the airport.
Yeah, we're going to the airport.
To Bicycle Station home base for 2 days before he comes back out for Leadville for me.
We ended up filming a little mini podcast with JP, the stable cyclist, and he is the reason that I even knew about Maah Daah in the first place. More importantly, there's 2 amazing movies that he's made about this event that I just love the movies, and I highly recommend you go watch them.
They are so good.
Yeah, that video should already be out on the channel right now, so if you want to catch up and listen to that interview I did with JP. And then we have some content where I'll be on his channel, sounds like sometime next year.
February, March is the timeline for that. It's gonna be cool. They got some shots of Jesse rolling through 8-1. I happened to set up my SAG stop like right next to them. So they were like, is it okay if we film Jesse? And I was like, absolutely. They were the best.
This Maah Daah race is a fairly large undertaking to tackle, and it's hard in a lot of unique ways. The race is the North Dakota Badlands, and there is almost no tree cover the entire way at all. Completely exposed to the sun for what ended up being, for me, roughly 10 hours. And that's kind of a unique puzzle to solve. The race is a point-to-point also. It's completely dependent on having like a full team of SAG people to help you with it, and Chase did that. The race starts out and pretty much immediately a hole shot, although it wasn't very stressful. In my head, I didn't know anybody who was racing. I had asked around, and I specifically asked JP and his crew, and they kind of told me that other than Tinker, that I was kind of like the biggest named athlete at the event, quote unquote, you know, if you get what I'm trying to say. I was kind of nervous because I race on the East Coast mostly, and I know who I'm racing. This event, I basically just knew Tinker Juarez, who is world...
He's a legend. If you don't know Tinker, you are living under a rock.
Yeah, it's like surreal actually that I was racing with him. Effectively what I was thinking was that I'm basically just gonna mark Tinker as like the person to watch out for.
And he's done the race several times.
He's won it a bunch of times too. There's actually one dude who jumped out in front who I never caught his name, and I don't know what happened to him, but it was that guy, Tinker, and then I was in third, but he bobbled, and then me and Tinker went around him, and I just never saw him again. I mean, like, it was like a mile. He had an Orbea. Because of that bobble, me and Tinker actually had a nice little gap. Tinker was very aggressive at the start. I wouldn't say he was out of control, but he was going pretty fast, and I felt really comfortable following him. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing or anything. All I knew was that Tinker was good at this race, and if he was doing that, like, I've raced Tinker once or twice, and I kind of had an idea of like what was reasonable for me, and so I felt really good about what I was doing, and I just followed him. There was like a cow on the trail, and Tinker was like yelling at this cow, like we were climbing some switchbacks. It was so funny. There's a lot of cow things that happen in this race.
I learned during this event that I'm scared of cows.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, this is kind of a little bit of a cow poop kind of race. There's a lot of like...
I literally got cow poop on my leg during my ride.
It's definitely on the muddier side. The second half of the race definitely wasn't, but the first 50 miles, like, there was a lot of muddy spots. It wasn't disastrous, but we got out of the trail and we couldn't see anybody behind us, and Tinker put in a little bit of a dig, and he was trying to drop me on this gravel road. It was like roughly 8 miles. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pissed at Tinker because I was like, dude, we have a huge gap. We had to have had a half mile to a mile gap.
It just left 8-1. Jesse was, it looked like, in the lead for a little bit, still in the top 10, but it looked like he was maybe, when he came through, about 4 or 5 minutes back, but he was looking really great. Mom! What's up, G? Did you see the cow? That was just a cow, it was not bison. Gentry thinks all cows are bison now. We're still learning the differences.
Don't get it right now. I need
it's in my pocket.
Next time.
Okay.
Sorry, wait. It's in your pocket?
This whole tool has Master Link in it. Just take the tool. Do you want element?
No.
Water?
I'm good. I just broke my chain.
Oh, you broke your chain. Okay.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, so he told me he needed a master link. I had one in my pocket ready to go. So gave that to him, and he was in really good spirits. He didn't take any sort of nutrition from me.
We had a very good gap, a fairly dominant gap that could have been backbreaking. He tries to drop me as well instead of working with me, which I understand.
That early in the race, it makes more sense to work together, and then he could drop you later
I don't know.
because he's Tinker.
I definitely had, looking back at the splits, there were splits that I was faster than him at. I realized that Tinker is still trying to drop me, and what I did, he has a lefty fork. He basically had no arrow position, and I spent that entire 8 miles riding on my fork in an arrow position, doing like 200 watts. I was like just chilling, but I was so much more arrow than Tinker. Once I realized that he was trying to drop me, instead of closing the gap, I just sat 25 foot off his wheel. I was just trying to like stress him out, which I think actually ended up working because he kept trying to speed away from me, and I would just get into my arrow position and kind of just glide towards him every single time. And by the trailhead, I entered the trail. Once we got to the trail, I closed the gap and went into the trail right behind him. I was feeling pretty good because I was like, man, he just burned a lot of energy just for no reason there, which was, we could have worked together, Tinker, but
Next time.
Anyway, this, in my opinion, was the hardest part of the race. After the gravel road was this trail section before the aid station was definitely the hardest part of the race. And the reason it was the hardest part of the race is because it was the muddiest part of the race. It had the most like hoof tracks, and it was a little bit more of a bog. Whenever I was watching the Stable Cyclists movies, they were showing the different terrain, and I like to ride out in the Hoosier National Forest a lot, which is kind of exactly the same.
It's horse trails.
And so funny enough, I had crazy practice riding over horse bogs to the point where Tinker finally pulled off and let me go around him. And so I didn't drop him or anything, but he was following me instead, and I was feeling great. I was winning the race. Technically, I wouldn't say I was like winning, but I had a good lead. And then we started, one dude finally did catch us though. I don't think the guy that caught us ended up finishing the race. He did not finish the race is what I think. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but he did not go under 10 hours. That guy caught up to us, been going through some muddy sections, and there was a lot of dismounting and hiking and then remounting. I was riding up one of the pitches, and all of a sudden my chain snaps in half. I did not film this because I was needing to fix it, but my chain broke in half. My left knee shot into my handlebar, and I smashed it into the shifter, and I had to pull off and fix it, which I think took me 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to fix.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because I was staring at the tracker, and that's about how long you were in the same spot. I kept refreshing, and that's when I assumed something had happened at that point.
I did fix it. Y'all know how SRAM says you can't reuse master links? They told me it's because the master link is weaker than the chain. And I've reused this master link probably 50 times. And guess what? The actual chain broke.
The master link is still good.
The master link that I've reused 50 times is still good, but the literal actual chain was the part that broke. And I don't know why, but I think it was just muddy and something didn't fit right.
It's probably the mud, and just did you shift at the wrong time? You were putting like a lot of power down.
Well, transmission's supposed to...
I know, but it obviously didn't work.
Ultimately, why I didn't get top 3, I had the legs for top 3, and if you go look at the splits I was doing, like all of the time I lost in this split is effectively the time that I needed to have back to stick with the leaders. The cool thing about this race is you have such crazy sight lines throughout the whole thing. You can see pretty far, and I could see the group. It was like Tinker and like 2 other guys, and I could see them, and I was like, they're not out of sight at all. And we hit this like prairie thing, and there was a lot of wind, and I freaking lost one of my contacts. That cost me another like 2 to 4 minutes. The 2 guys that I almost caught at the very end, I had just caught them.
Made it through checkpoint B. Jesse was in a group of 7th to 10th, prepped with Element, and see if I can use some baby wipes at all to like clean up his muddy bottles. Yep, here's Element. You're 3-ish minutes back.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else? Carbs?
No, because we only got like 10 miles, right?
Yep, I'll see you at C. Pretty much cycling
Yeah, you guys are not far off. Jesse, left.
3 sets of bottles. between the element and the water. I think having 4 sets of bottles probably would have been maybe a little bit easier. They were moving and it looked like their gap was down to like 2.5 to 3-ish minutes. And I was like, hey, you're super close. And Jesse was like, I know. And he was with 2 other guys. Like, they were all doing great. They all looked pretty good. Like, they knew that they were really close to the lead group. Tinker and Brian Cook had gotten caught by 2 guys. From here to checkpoint C, they have a pretty decent climb.
So in this race, there's all these cow gates that you have to pick up. I found the best way to do it is just to completely get off your bike and throw it up and walk through. And I learned that from the movies. The other good thing about doing that is that you can kind of take a second to like eat or drink after that as well. It was kind of a good reminder, oh, I'm already off the bike. That was another tip that I found from the Stable Cyclist content. Lost my contact and I was super sad because I was almost about to catch back onto the leader group. That is where I pretty much was solo.
But then the next time I saw you guys was checkpoint C. So that was 6 miles later. And that was the big climb before you go down to the river where everyone came through that checkpoint spread out. All right, leaving checkpoint C, I did not have as much time there as I thought. Leaders came through a lot quicker than I thought. And they were a lot more strung out than what I expected. Jesse was still sitting and around that same position. He did drop his element bottles. He got 1 and then he switched out 1 element, 1 water. And I realized the reason I'm not really seeing people out here is because of the river crossing. I practiced driving that with Jesse yesterday, but I had so many people coming up to me today and they're like, hey, we heard you went through the river. How was it? And like they were comparing their vehicles to mine to see if they thought they could make it through or not. It looks like there is 1 guy ahead of me who is going to go through the river.
And I was pretty slow through there. The split from there to the Aid 2 was my slowest split compared to the field. It was just so muddy there. There's 2 creek crossings right there. It was super muddy and my bike got really heavy and I had to walk a little bit up a climb. I ended up getting my bike cleaned up a little bit. Throughout the day, I'd kind of started making friends at some of these aid stations. And this was a group that we talked to at the hotel and then at the start again, like we just kept parking near each other. It was 2 couples and they had a dog. They had their Maah bike van. Because everyone else had to drive, they skipped the first several checkpoints and they drove the long way around on the highway to get to Aid 2. The Maah squad, they were amazing. They had a prime parking spot at this aid station right on the trail where it goes by, and they had like a water hookup with their van. They saw Jesse roll through, saw me helping him, and the guy was like, hey, come to our van real quick, like just use our van, because Jesse was about to ride up the road a little ways up, like a quarter mile up the road to get to my truck, because that was the closest spot I could get. They were incredible. It helped so much. It was worth the 3 or 4 minutes that I spent there because I probably dropped over 5 to 10 pounds off my bike in mud from doing that. It also saved my drivetrain. So it started the race with Ceramic Speed Endurance wax, which is my favorite wax, and it was still working at this point. Even though it was caked in mud, it was still working. Remember, like, we asked if you needed chain lube and you were like, no, I'm good. The chain lasted in like worse conditions than anything I could think of. It made it like 70 miles or something. 70 miles total. Yeah. Once we did the drip wax, it lasted the rest of the race too. We did a lot of wax though. Like we coated it in the drip wax. Yeah. So after this aid station is a part of the race that the movies had hyped up to be very challenging. And so between checkpoints D and E, right at the next 2 after Aid 2, I had a little bit more time between those. But then from E, F, G, H, and I, that was like boom, boom, boom. And I was going literally as fast as I could to get there.
You'll see me in 10 miles. Just left checkpoint D this time. Pretty sure I lost my other sunglasses at 8-2. Gentry was wearing them, and then it turned into pure chaos. And I didn't realize they were missing until this point. I'm just in cycling girl mode now. Jesse came through. Overall, it's pretty spread out. Places 3, 4, 5, they came back together. It's the people in the lead of overall shuffled. Tinker was still in second, but he did make a wrong turn and he somehow ended up coming back down the road to checkpoint D. I'm not entirely sure where, but I think he mentioned he was like following the red signs and one of them pointed him this way, which is a bummer for him. But he ended up turning around to take the gravel back to where he left the trail because it'd be faster on the gravel anyway. Jesse, I think, is sitting somewhere between 5th and 7th still. It's really hard for me to get a good read on where he is placement wise. I've got a pretty good drive now to get to checkpoint E. Roughly 10 miles of riding for him. Because I'm driving to the next aid station or checkpoint, but way up on that ridge you can see people riding on the trail.
This part of the race, the movies really hype it up to be this like really hard part, mile 50 to mile 75, and I kind of took that kind of seriously. I slowed up and then did that first check to check, and I went probably slower than I needed to, but somewhere in this stretch I drank like a full Red Bull. I was pretty far down on the group at this point.
Yeah, so
like I was solidly in 6th place, but I was not close to anybody. Oh no, I was in 8th because I ended up passing 2 guys.
We're getting into the section where I was seeing you more frequently, but I could also start to get a feel of how you were improving and catching on people.
The second half of the race, I was way faster than the first half.
And then after that, I saw you again at checkpoint E, which was mile 67, and that was the last like longer stretch I had before I was seeing you every like 4 miles.
And I think I drank the Red Bull there because I think I went pretty quick on that one too.
You did. So you didn't really take much at checkpoint D. At aid 2, you chugged an Element. We got these Element sparkling waters.
Those are
just to
my
try.
new favorite race thing.
If you want a special order any, let me know.
I probably consumed
almost half a box. Yeah, easily.
I probably had over 10,000 milligrams of salt, so 1,000 grams.
At a lot of these aid stations, I wasn't always able to park at the trailhead. I would load up a bag with 2 bottles of Element, 2 bottles of water, a Red Bull, this, and any like random tools, batteries. Started to add chain loop to that bag later in the race.
I'm just trying to get under 10 hours, which I don't even know if I'll be able to, but
that's okay. You're doing great.
I think this is the hardest part of the day, and then
everyone has been looking a lot rougher right here than they have been at the last aid station.
I saved energy to try to do that part good, and I think I was semi-successful.
You had one of these Elements at aid 2. You took maybe a 1 bottle at checkpoint D.
Every single checkpoint I topped bottles. I would switch them out, and Chase was just like refilling them and giving them back to me.
Yeah, there were some. If he had 2 half-drink bottles of Element, I would just mix them together, kind of reuse it and go throughout the day. But I think that was good to help get you to drink and eat more because you didn't run a hydration pack, which I think was good.
Yeah, so I was planning on dropping the bottles. I would try to finish them before the aids.
Yeah, checkpoint E, we got more bottles. I probably said whatever it was, but that was also you chugged a Red Bull there.
Yeah.
That's where you really started to catch people. There were some guys that were hanging out of that aid station for a while, and you started to pick off people a lot more quickly there. And what I noticed at checkpoint E, that was where a lot of people were stopping to get their bikes cleaned up from the mud, where we had taken the time to do that at checkpoint 2.
Oh, I did not know that.
Thanks to the awesome Lemaire people. When I walked up to checkpoint E with Gentry, there were people with car keys scraping mud off of someone's bike. There was everyone was cleaning, taking a little bit more time at that one. That was the longest stop for a lot of people that I was around. That was one of your shortest stops.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
It's where it started to get really exciting and fun for me because I was like, oh my gosh, you're catching people.
So next time we do this race, if we go back, we are bringing a pressure washer. We needed
Like a
a
portable
legit
pressure washer.
like a cyclocross style pressure washer.
Absolutely.
And that would have saved me 5 minutes of time in this race because I had the legs, the riding ability to contest winning this race. I'm not saying I would have won in reality, but
You were in the
riding,
you had the ability.
yeah, nothing about my riding was the reason why I didn't win. It was all like logistics based, which I think is really an interesting situation. After I drank that Red Bull, I just felt so fast, and the trail was super fast. And really what was going on was I was starting to do math on if I could get the belt buckle. So this race does a belt buckle for 10 hours, and apparently this year the course was a little bit harder than like in previous years. Is that?
Yeah, it was a new course, and every single person I talked to said it was harder.
We were like a little bit up against it. I had stopped caring about if I was going to beat people. I was only worried about going sub 10. And so that was all I was trying to do, and just trying to figure out if I had enough time to do it. My Strava gave me about 108 miles. I was so borderline in my head. I was trying to figure out how safe I was, and it wasn't very safe. And so I just went all out to try to make it under 10 hours.
Checkpoint F, so that was mile 71, and that was only 4 miles after checkpoint E. I was maybe the only person that stopped at literally every single place I could along this route, but towards the end I started to see a lot of the same people stopping at every checkpoint, and they all had guys that were in the top 7, maybe even top 10. Just left checkpoint F on my way to checkpoint G. Jesse actually just caught at checkpoint F places 6 and 7. So they saw him come up, so they got to move on pretty quick. He didn't take anything nutrition-wise. He just told me that he needs chain loop. So now I am busting my ass to get to the next checkpoint in time. This is a really tough section when your rider wants something at every single spot, or is like expecting me to be at every single spot just in case. Such a short time to get to each one. I don't know what the trail is like in this section, but it's almost like Jesse is damn near able to get there a little bit faster than me. So the truck for the riders that Jesse was just catching is actually right in front of me. So we are all just flying. So
Yeah.
I saw you again in 4 miles at checkpoint G. There you go. Oh, you look so good.
Spin the crank backwards. Good enough.
You got water element.
One of each. Yeah, water.
That's that one's full. Do you need nutrition?
No.
All right, you see me in 4 miles. You're killing it. I saw you again at aid station 3 at
And-
mile 4, and that's where you rode through the bubbles.
The climbs out there, they're very similar to where I live. Like
Small, punchy climbs.
Yeah, there's none of them were like very long. Even the ones that were long, it would be like 2 miles, 500 foot, and then it would just be stretched out. You'd gain 500 feet over 2 miles. It was super gradual with maybe a spike in it.
Just left checkpoint G. Super hard to film those. This is a lot quicker than I anticipated today. Okay, come on, people. Let's keep it moving. There are some vehicles on this road that maybe shouldn't be. This is one of the rougher roads. Jesse did a quick stop. I gave him 1 water, 1 bottle of Element. We looped his chain. We put a lot of lube on there. And when he came through, he was actually in 6th place. So I'm pretty freaking stoked, pretty proud of him on that one. It's been cool to, what? We do gotta catch Dad, you're right. We're gonna catch him. Such a good day. I'm really freaking hyped right now. It's fun. That one was, you stopped real quick, and you were a minute and a half maybe behind the 2 guys in front of you.
Yeah.
So freaking close. It's before you go down and under the highway. The last aid station was checkpoint I, and that was mile 98. And then that's where you have like roughly 4-ish miles of mountain biking, and then you hit the people trail.
At this point, I was super stressed out. I could see these guys. I was gaining on them quick to the point where one of them yelled, like, "You have to go now, he's catching us." And I think they were riding together.
They were riding together. They had the exact same sag. They were two buddies that were together the entire day.
It was basically the guy who was going slower telling his friend to like leave because I was going to catch them. And I almost did. So 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th were within 2 minutes of each other, which is insane to me.
And for me watching this was like really freaking exciting for me because I didn't have any idea what was happening on the trail, but I knew from all of these checkpoints and where I was seeing Jesse, he was getting really freaking close to, and like I knew you had potential to hit 3rd place.
So
I was like hyped. I was like, holy shit, is he gonna like suddenly like epic comeback and get on the podium?
At this final aid station, the clock is winding down and I have like 20 minutes or so left, right?
Roughly 20 minutes to get to the finish to get in under 10 hours.
No, it was 40 minutes.
Was it 40?
Yeah, because...
You're right, you got back with like 12 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, math.
And so I didn't know how long the people trail was. I forgot. I asked the person there how long the people trail was, and she said something like, it's in 4 miles, right?
Yeah, she said it's in 4 miles. She misunderstood what he was asking.
And I wanted to know how long it was.
And so Jesse like started to turn back and ask what, and I just yelled at him, just go, you're almost there.
I was trying to figure out like how possible it was to finish under 10 hours. Turns out it was fairly easily possible, but I was under the impression that I had a 4-mile people trail time trial at the end of this thing because I misheard what she said, and I was pretty stressed about it because I didn't even care if I caught these dudes, but I was just like, I gotta get to this people trail, and I hit the people trail with like 13 minutes to spare. I was trying to figure out how I was gonna do 4 miles in like 10 minutes effectively. It probably was possible to do that. What would that be, like a 20-mile-an-hour average?
Yeah.
Something like that, which was possible. But I was just like, I need to like time trial this so fast right now because I was cutting it so close. Turns out I was completely fine. I got on the people trail and my computer said 1 mile to go. I still went fast. I didn't have enough runway to catch the guy in front of me. I could see him, but it was already done. Like I only had a mile, and I finished in 9 hours and 53 minutes.
Belt buckle.
So yeah, they gave me the belt buckle, and I was the last person to finish with the belt buckle time. The guy who got 3rd was part of the duo that had been riding together.
If I'm remembering right, there was a guy that came through right before you, or one of the guys that came through right before you.
I never saw this guy or talked to him.
I think it might have been the guy in the white jersey with some black on it, maybe. But someone, like his son or something, joined him at checkpoint H to like ride with them. Because like the people at the checkpoint were like, "What's your number?" And someone else was, "Oh no, it's just his son. He's pacing him or something." There was like a son just appeared and like started riding. It was like he's pacing his dad.
So he's missing from the podium photo. And that's why I'm confused, because the guy I was chasing that was part of the duo is standing on the 3rd place spot in the podium photo.
Support-wise, it became a total blur because when you came through checkpoint I got there maybe 3 minutes ahead of you, and that is pushing it. Frankly, I was speeding probably more than I should have, and I almost missed you at that aid station, or that checkpoint.
Yeah.
Because I had to go the long way around. Because the road that was previously used in the past was private land. They weren't able to get permission for it to be used this year. But so when I got there, I only saw the 2 guys right before you that you were catching, like the 4th and 5th place.
That's why I'm confused, because there's a person in there that is missing from the action, right?
I didn't see them at the end.
I didn't see them at all. That's what I believe that this person exists. 50% of the race.
Before checkpoint D, which was mile 57.
Mile 57.
Your time at that point was 5:13.
So that 5 hours and 13 minutes to mile 57.
Yeah.
And then how long did it take me to finish from that point?
I think roughly 4 hours and 40 minutes.
So I was 35 minutes faster on the second half of the course than the first half. And that's not just pacing strategy, that's like the course got faster, I think, which is part of it. Pretty big negative split. My average speed would have increased pretty good in that stretch. I think I averaged like 11 miles per hour or something like that, and that's pretty cool because normally that's not what happens.
It was a fun one.
The other thing that happens too, it had gotten hotter during the day, and the trail, basically all the mud was gone, is kind of what I would say. And so I opted to run the peyotes, and I do actually still, I think that is an optimal tire for the Maah Daah. The course is not technical at all. It is fairly fast and smooth. The cow trottings are like rough, but like not really that rough.
You're not going over like rocks and
It's
roots.
it's like the trail's not technical, but like
The terrain
is technical, is a good way to put it. The logistics of like being in the sun that long, dealing with the mud. It's sticky mud. It's
And
like very, very sticky.
real quick, while you're talking about being in the sun that long, this was a very mild year, like temperature-wise, for this race.
Yeah,
Like it's hot. This was, some years it gets up to like 100 degrees.
I was actually hoping it was going to be hotter.
Really? You do better in like extreme condition.
Yeah,
I'm a baby with it. I can't.
I do really well in the heat, y'all, and I know that sounds insane to say, but in terms of like me performing at a race, had it been 10 degrees hotter, I guarantee you I would have been just as fast.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
with
like
that.
it wouldn't have changed my time at all.
I can vouch for him. Jesse wore his Hot Boy jersey, so it is currently Monday. We are 2 days past this race. This is his Hot Boy sunburn.
That's
Hot Boy
sweet.
jersey sunburn.
That jersey rocked for the race. It was
So it
like
was
the
good.
best. It was like perfect.
Minus the sunburn. So Jesse got his finisher medal in addition to the belt buckle.
Yeah.
And then so you got 6 overall, but then you had a nice little surprise.
I can't believe that this happened. But first off, so like the guy who won beat me by roughly 15. Tinker was another, I think I was only like 13 minutes behind Tinker, like 17 minutes behind the guy that won. And then the next 4 spots were all within 2 minutes of each other, which is
That's crazy.
absolutely crazy in a 10-hour race. That's what I wanted to point out before we start talking about the finish. I don't think I've ever done a 10-hour event that had 6 finishers finish that close together.
Typically, if you're not familiar with events like this, it's very, very spread out.
It was crazy that we actually like were racing. Coming into the finish line, we were sprinting out. Like there was still
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a very exciting day for me spectating because like I never get to be on the course this much and see Jesse this much at any race I go to watch or do support. I might see him once, but I saw you every 10 miles or less. So what was your little surprise?
Yeah, so somehow out of all of the people in that top 6, I was the only person who was in the 30 to 40 age bracket, which makes no sense to me at all. I don't understand.
It makes sense to me. People get faster with age, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With endurance events like this.
I also think that this is such a logistics challenge. Like being 40 makes sense to go do this event.
So you won your age group.
Yeah, I did win my age group.
This is a little age group wood piece. You brought home the hardware.
Yeah, we waited for
JP to finish.
JP to see him finish the race. I'm super excited for the movie that he filmed
It's gonna
about
be so
it.
good.
Go
He
watch
does.
the interview video.
Yeah, watch that.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah.
Watch that.
And then we hit the road. Obviously, we're in Colorado now, and Chase is racing Leadville on Saturday. I'm gonna fly out in 4 hours back to Indiana, and then I'm gonna come back and
In
film
2 days.
the Leadville situation.
Filming for the Leadville video, I think is going to be totally different. I mean, it's a much bigger event. You can't just go wherever.
Maah Daah, I think, does live up to the hype. I think it's incredibly challenging, but not in a way that you would expect. It was actually more challenging from like a logistics standpoint than like an actual riding
You
standpoint.
literally can't go without a SAG person.
It would be impossible, I think. It would be unreasonable. If you just go ride casually, I wouldn't say it's terrifyingly hard trail, but
It is pretty remote.
It's remote and scary. Lifting the gates wasn't a big deal for me. I could see how that would wear on you. I think that this event is prohibitive from it being like a huge event. I don't think it's ever going to be like a ginormous event just because of how challenging of an event it is to go to and do.
Logistically, it's tough.
But if you're up for it, I do think it's worth the effort.
I think it's a very special event.
It's-
You should make the effort to go to.
It's way more epic than anything I've ever done.
People were amazing. The vibes were good. The area was cool.
I've done a lot of races like this, and this one, to me, is the closest thing that I've done to like a full like epic. Like, I've never called a race epic before. This is a legitimately epic day on the bike. You kind of get lost out there. It's kind of crazy that we raced it. That's what I'm trying to say. It was a trek, it was a journey, and doing that as a race was pretty crazy.
Let's finish this outro-y.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw you at the top, I was like,
Yeah. You see your chain fix? I did. And I ended up, I mean, I made it under the belt on the front, so I'm pretty stoked.
awesome. Like she filmed me as I was going.
I keep going bigger, which is funny to say, but I don't think we've quite reached the optimal size yet.
Yeah.
Especially on a tire that I wouldn't have considered to be very fast too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's surprising.